I really like CH2O, but you prefer formaldehyde. Should I listen to you? No. Let's just hate the other side. Ideas can be great, and they often are. Ideas can evolve into the greatest human inventions, after all. They can evolve into opinions too, which are my personal favorites. Many people are like me, they love opinions too, or more specifically, they love their opinions. There's of course nothing wrong with that, you don't have your opinions for nothing, but love for yourself shouldn't automatically equate to the hate for others. Nowadays, if someone's opinion differs just a smidge too much from our own, we take a strong dislike to the person harboring the opinion. I felt this way many times in my limited time on Earth, and only recently have I tried to stop. My conclusion was that I shouldn't hate, socially ostracize or scream at someone who disagrees with me, not if that is the only reason. I found that listening and talking are always the way to move forward. Steve walks into a bar. He orders a drink and he talks to Chris standing next to him. They seem to have a lot of chemistry. They talk for a while and they eventually stumble upon politics. Steve takes out his phone to check the time, and right when Chris wants to say he voted for his beloved Yellow Party, he sees that Steve has a phone case displaying the total opposite of his vote, the Purple Party, and he swallows his words. Now Chris is in a difficult situation. Either be honest and risk ruining the chemistry between the two, lie, or say nothing and be safe for now. Of course, it isn't a guarantee that Steve will hate Chris for his belief, but the likelihood of hate towards the other is higher than it was 5 minutes ago. At the time of writing the script, the elections in my country are coming up. The highway billboards are clad with the faces of politicians, the motto of every party is branded into our skulls, and our nightly TV watching is interrupted by a guy in a suit telling us all how great he will make our lives. This is of course great, being in a democratic country and all, getting a say in your leadership. But it causes so many bad things to happen alongside the good things as well. The left hates the right, and the right hates the left. This extreme hate and distaste for the other side is something I see as political polarization. While the definition of the word doesn't take hate into account, it seems to me it is too often the consequence of it. You might say, well, what's bad about hating the other side? They have such a different opinion to mine. Why would I like them? Their morals are skewed and twisted. That's the problem. In order for us, as a society and as a species, to work together and understand each other, we must give it a shot. A shot not taken is a shot missed. These different groups that stand against each other, they maintain and they create themselves. Let's take Sarah, a kid who goes to primary school for the first time. In her first couple of grades, life is fun, life is great. She grows up and finds herself in the last grade already. At this time, the elections are going on, and the teacher, seeing that the kids are now somewhat old enough to understand politics, shows them and explains to them the results of these elections. The Green Party won. The teacher is a member of this Green Party and showed clear happiness when talking about their victory. Sarah goes to secondary school, where teachers don't touch on politics often. But when they do, they express the fact that their opinions align with the Green Party. Her parents have all this time told her that the Green Party is great. They always voted for the Green Party, and Sarah begins to have a worldview that is pro-green, unknowing of anything else. She finds green friends, connects with fellow green family members, and follows green social media creators. This bubble she's caught up in is now quite difficult to escape, and I think that is a big issue. She will have a harder time seeing other worldviews as valid when her own has never been challenged in a meaningful way. Now of course, few people lead such monotone lives politically, but many find themselves in a bubble from their earliest life stages, which are possible to get out of, but it sure makes forming opinions outside of it more difficult. And if people do, the chance that they get issues with their family is large. A study done in 2024 by the American Psychiatric Association showed that 21% of Americans have become estranged from a family member due to political differences. People love their tribal echo chambers, it seems, and don't want any acoustic padding to consume some of the beautiful echoing of their own opinions they love to hear. Social media is full of politics, and whatever politics you like watching, you will see more of. Usually, we will get videos of the political ideas that we support, which causes comments like, "I'm in enemy territory," when someone comes across a video not aligning with their viewpoints. I am not a saint when it comes to this either. In fact, I still do this. I have for a long time watched content exclusively aligning with my opinions, which feels great, but can increase polarization. I've recently started to try and branch out the content I consume, and try to find ways in which I can broaden my worldview. It is now so easy to immerse yourself in the ever ongoing echo chamber that tells you that you, the messiah of opinions, are right, and that they, the devil of opinions, are dead wrong, and always will be. In these bubbles, not only does your conviction of your worldview get stronger and stronger, your distrust and dislike towards disagreeing people skyrockets. The feeling of belonging to a group overpowers that of seeing the righteousness of another. We love to belong, we love tribal companionship more than anything. It's a mentality which says if you disagree with me, you disagree with all of us. That way, if you see someone belonging to your tribe struggling in a debate, you will rush to defend them instead of looking at it objectively, and maybe having to admit that they are losing the debate because their arguments are worse. My point is, you don't have to be friends with people you disagree with, but there's a difference between villainizing them and just not being friends. We can still be respectful to one another without agreeing, and I believe it's strange that this isn't normal anymore. Like, when I say this to people, I often get a response as, why should I respect them when they don't respect me, or these people, or this idea, or this law? That's the thing. It's not okay when they do it, and also not okay when you do it. In this clip, two women are debating each other respectfully, until a man from the crowd comes in and criticizes the woman at the mic for talking to the woman in blue at all. I quote, "She does not deserve respect." After that, he too dismisses a point from the woman in blue, when she says accidentally ending the life of a fetus following the taking of birth control is much different from doing it on purpose, by saying that, quote, "most of our camp would say the contrary."
Most of your camp would absolutely say that.
As seen in the clip, the man spews hate for no reason, without even being part of the debate at all. He perfectly proves my point, both surrounding respecting the other side and the tribal nature of opinions nowadays. Whatever hate you can stop, you should probably stop, and maybe if you respect them, they will come to the realization you aren't the enemy and are worthy of respect too. And they might not, but that's okay. A 2023 study done by Pew Research shows that 65% of Americans feel exhausted about politics, and 55% feel angry. Only 10% feel hopeful, and an overpowering 4% feel excited. The most popular description of American politics seems to be divisive. These are just a bunch of stats, but they clearly reflect the way our ways of talking about politics cause negativity. I too often see people dismissing the opinion of the other side for various reasons, among which stand, "I am on the right side of history. You are an evil person. You don't understand what you're talking about because you're X," etc., etc. Our use of language is important in dialogue. It is a tool which we can use for good, as to not let the conversation digress from its point and keep the debate civil. Or we can use it to provoke the other side and make the debate into something it's not supposed to be, a screaming competition. Even if we must make a critical remark, we can use 3 simple words to calm down an otherwise hostile statement. I think that. Saying, "I think that you are an evil person," gives the other side an opportunity to respond to that by saying, "I don't think I'm an evil person, because..." This way the debate doesn't have to spark into a constant ping-ponging session of insults, and can continue as it should. What happens if we just talk? What if we listen? The end of the apartheid in South Africa would have been impossible if both sides didn't listen. The same goes for the Cold War and the American Revolutionary War. Peace treaties, international contracts, business deals are all consequences of both sides listening. And progress follows. Even if progress isn't always a direct consequence of dialogue, understanding or even having heard the stance of the other side is better than having no idea what you're arguing against. A 2019 study by Carnegie Endowment for International Peace shows that in America, the people who are most politically engaged know the least about the opposite side's true stances. Often their policies are much more overlapping than they think, and listening makes them realize this. In fact, arguing is stupid when you're just spewing arguments and throwing around opinions wildly, without trying to break down the other person's point to change their minds. In this clip from the same video of before, the woman in blue and the woman in front of the mic are arguing over semantics, the definition of a parasite. 2 minutes later, they are still both arguing the same thing, without truly listening to the other side. The problem here is not arguing about semantics, that's normal in debates. It's the excessive screaming of two sides, and them making the same points every single time. It all shows that they are both not listening. Also, arguing about semantics of this kind is kinda strange, since biology and Google provide clear answers. But anyways, the debate stalls because neither side is willing to stop screaming and calm down to provide further evidence.
Tell her. You want to know what it is? It's a parasite.
Okay, so no.
Yes, it is. It is a literal living type of thing. It's a parasite inside of its host. It cannot survive outside of its host.
You know what a parasite is?
That's medical emergency. That's literally the definition of what a fetus is.
Allows medical
That
emergency.
is literally the definition of what a fetus is. I've been saying that the whole fucking time. I've been saying that the whole time.
Cannot be a parasite.
Screaming at someone will result in them screaming back, both parties hearing nothing and no progress being made. In this case, the stalling was completely unnecessary. Both sides got so caught up in defending their side that they did not consider showing the truth. If they had just listened, the debate could have gotten to a further point quicker, and would have been kept more civil. A slow and deliberate debate way more often results in progress, even if that just means one side becomes more educated about certain stances of the other. Listening to someone talk about their opinions might leave you wanting to challenge them in that, which is good, that is dialogue. But challenging someone without listening first is not, that is a monologue. Now, you may have thought, this is all just common sense, everyone agrees with this. And well, yes, a lot of people do, but the fact that they agree with my point doesn't mean they practice it at all. That is the main issue here, we aren't listening enough, at least not compared to how much we think we do. People can agree with something when they are relaxed and clear in their mind, but when they get emotional they can stray massively from their beliefs. I know a lot of people will agree with my point, that's step 1. The difficult part is making a change yourself, and realizing you aren't practicing what you preach in certain moments. This is not to say everyone who agrees with me doesn't already practice it too. Only that for the amount of people who believe in listening, far too few actually do so. Try to watch some content from the other side now and then. Involve yourself in their scenes and ideas. Also, when you catch yourself getting turned away from a person or conversation because you know they think something else than you do, go against that feeling. Speak up about your ideas and try to spark dialogue with people, and listen to them. I'm not saying you shouldn't be critical. No, you should be. But you should be critical of others, and yourself too. Be critical of everything, and come to a conclusion not by copying your tribal thinking process, but by listening to every side. I'd like us all to live in a world where us versus them means us against the alien invaders or us against AI. Not my political echo chamber tribal thinking bubble against yours. Perhaps we can listen to each other when one loves CH2O and one loves formaldehyde. Actually listen, and see that we are more alike than we may have thought at first.